Hello, hello. My name is Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
And welcome to the show that is Double Trouble Features, the weekly podcast where we're bringing you everything movies, TV, pop culture, and just seeing what's on these damn screens.
Hey, and also make sure that you're subscribing on wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and or YouTube. So, Joe, what do we got today, man?
Well, we're going to be kicking things off a little bit with something interesting, the Razzies, also known as the Golden Raspberry Awards. We are talking the worst of the worst for 2023 and what a bunch of random people who have no real credentials have to say about it.
Oh, wait. Is it called the raspberries? Because,
Yes.
Like
yeah, like a golden.
That just clicked.
That just clicked for you?
That just clicked for me.
Good. I'm glad. Additionally, we're going to be getting into a movie that we both saw together that has been making the rounds, and I would say has become one of the most popular films of 2024, and that would be
Madem Web, guys. Usually, today's actually going to be a different kind of episode. Usually we watch different movies, watch different TV shows, but today we just got to talk about Madem Web. We just have to talk about Madem Web and how perfect of a movie it is.
Yes, perfect. It is perfect at some things, which we'll get into.
Yeah. And then, of course, the show that's hitting the rounds is definitely Love it. Yeah. L-I.
Are you trying to spell?
Lib. Love is Blind, by the way. Guys, that was so bad. I'm sorry.
I didn't know where we were going with that. I thought we were just going to spell out the whole title. Yes, Love is Blind, and it is.
Yeah, we're only going to talk about the first 6 episodes. So when this comes out, the next 3 will already be out. And then when the next one comes out, the finale will be out. So we're probably going to have a weekly update just to talk about Love is Blind.
A little Love is Blind action. I'm only 3 episodes in, but I have seen spoilers because y'all on TikTok are just blasting it all out there immediately.
Just tell us everything, guys. We get it. She don't look like Megan Fox.
Or does she? And then we'll discuss. All right, let's get into our quick topic for today, and that is the Golden Raspberry Awards, also known as the Razzies.
The Razzies. All right, man. Come on, bro.
So,
come on. Grow up a little bit.
See how long I can do that for. So every year there is a section of the internet that goes out and says the worst movies of the year. What was the worst thing that they saw that year? What was the worst actress, worst supporting actress? They go through it, and it's always the Saturday before the Oscars is when they announce the winners. It's interesting because it just kind of seemed that there's just ran by some film students that started it, and now it's kind of
guys. If you saw this website, you would think this is the most sketch, unrealistic thing. But for some reason, it has a real cult following.
We weren't sure if it was the right website when we went and looked it up because it doesn't look like it's been updated since 2012, maybe.
No, 2004.
You know what? I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. There were some graphics in there, but no. Tell me, Jordan, what are some of the worst pictures that they've nominated this year?
All right, so the nominee for worst picture is The Exorcist Believer. The Expendables, the 4th one.
Or if you read it correctly, The Expendables.
Yep. Meg 2, The Trench. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And actually one of the top movies of last year, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
So here's the thing, Jordan, and you remember how I said I hadn't watched a lot of TV shows on that best TV shows list?
Yeah.
There's only one movie on here that I have not seen, and that's The Expendables.
Okay, so you watch. So clearly, you don't watch good shit. You watch all the bad shit.
I love bad movies, bad television. I enjoy it. Exorcist Believer. That movie was bad for a couple of different reasons, but like it was still had enough horror for me. It still had enough enjoyable. Meg to the Trench. What the fuck do you want from Meg to the Trench?
That's my real question. Okay, like Expendables and Meg. Those two movies are just, hey, we're going to do some action stuff,
It's just
dumb
fun.
stuff.
It's just fun, lighthearted. I mean, I don't know
Yes.
about lighthearted, but it's just something to turn your brain off. Something that you're just like,
Okay, the stuff they were doing
oh.
in Meg 2. Bro,
Look, like I said, I turned my brain off.
bro, we're just on a jet ski, just going to, bro. Jason Statham,
It's
hey,
Jason Statham. You're telling,
yes.
like, that's the thing is, like, what are you holding? What standard are we holding Jason Statham to? Because I always hold actors to, like, one of their more, like, first films. So, like, Crank. Did we think that going from Crank to Meg to the Trench was going to be leaps and bounds? No, grow up. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I liked it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, no, it's not
People,
like I wouldn't say it's a terrible
people
movie.
hated that movie.
I would not say whole like Shazam to that kind of standard. Like Shazam is nowhere near as bad as like Morbius
Or Madem.
Yeah.
I
We'll get to that later.
I agree, and that's why
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just interesting to me because I saw way worse movies last year, but these are obviously like big blockbuster movies that people have seen.
Yeah,
for the most part.
But I do think 100% with my whole heart, the winner of this is definitely Winnie the Pooh.
Have you watched it?
I actually have watched
we
it.
both watched it.
Oh
I was
my
surprised.
God.
If you've never seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey,
Get really high.
yeah,
Get like I'm talking stupid high.
I mean, not too high though, because then it gets kind of scary. um, and I love horror, but like Winnie. So the thing about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is they don't talk. They like go feral because Christopher Robin leaves them in the woods, and they literally go feral and start eating people.
Yes.
So and like they kidnapping this, that, and the other. It's kind of crazy and insane, and most of all, gross.
Yeah, no, there's
It's
a lot of blood.
A lot of blood and honey. There's a
Yeah.
lot of blood and honey. I mean, it's right in the title. We should have been more. I mean, like we should have known, but good God,
Ooh,
and it's coming. There's gonna be a sequel.
I know. Does 2 come out this year?
I
it
think
comes out this
so.
year.
I think it is this year.
I'm actually wondering what they're going to do with Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, now that IP is available.
It's funny that only Steamboat Willie is in the public.
I didn't know they did they redid the IP every single time they did a reiteration of Mickey. So that's smart of them. But no, if I'm telling you, you should definitely watch Winnie the Pooh by yourself at 3 a.m. when there's nothing else to do in your life and you're down. If you're actually sad, depressed, watch this movie. It'll make you feel better.
God.
About life. About life.
Sure. We can say that. It'll take you on a journey that you never know that you want.
Never wanted to go on.
Never wanted to go on through the 100-acre wood, and it was beautiful. But that's just the worst films. Tell me more about the actors.
So we have the worst actors, which is Russell Crowe as the Pope's exorcist.
Fair. That movie was insane.
Chris Evans in Ghosted. Did not watch that movie.
I never watched it either. I always meant to get around it, but I heard it was so bad from everyone.
Yeah. We have Jason Statham in Meg 2. And then, of course, we have John Voight from Mercy. But the person who I think deserves the worst actor award is Vin Diesel in Fast X.
Look, I don't know, because I'm on that, like, this man, he wanted to make a car movie 20 years ago, and now we got him going to space. We got him fighting Charlize Theron with dreadlocks.
Okay, being honest, I actually thought, like, Fast 9 or whatever, the 9th movie, I thought it was a decent movie. They went to space, and yeah, sometimes it doesn't make sense. But, like, it was good and entertaining. Fast X was not good.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember a lot of it.
It was not a good movie. The best part was Jason Momoa being the villain. He was the best part of the whole entire movie. Everything else, the dialogue, the action, all of it sucked. But Vin Diesel was the worst character and part of that movie.
I mean,
he's so bad.
Part of me wonders if he's just like obviously over it but needs the paycheck. I don't know. Like when you're here, your family. Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. But then we have worst actresses. We have Ana de Armas.
Ana de Armas.
Yeah, Ana de Armas. Say that again.
Ana de Armas.
Yeah. What you said.
She was in Ghosted with Chris Evans and Yeah, that
We have
tracks.
Megan Fox and Johnny and Clyde. We have Helen.
Helen Mirren,
Yeah,
which fuck you. I don't want to ever see Helen's name. Don't keep Helen's name out of your mouth.
yeah.
Golden
Like,
Razzies. She was a fine villain. I'm not saying she was head and shoulders above everyone else, but there were a lot worse actors playing villains in superhero movies last
all
year.
right, and also like my thing is like J Lo. J Lo, don't disrespect J Lo like that. Okay, J Lo's an icon. She's a queen. Do not disrespect J Lo.
I just don't get it why we're still like I'm still seeing think pieces about like whether or not Jennifer Lopez is talented. And here's the thing: if you have to sit there and talk about why she's not talented, she's talented, and you're
Is
trying
she?
to prove it wrong. Anyways,
She's got like one good movie if you really think about it.
disagree.
What's another movie? What's another movie?
Made in Manhattan, Monster in Law. There's two right there.
Made in Manhattan. Yeah, she is good in that movie. Monster in Law. I have not seen that movie.
Enough. Enough is a great movie
Enough.
where she's getting chased by her ex-husband and she has to like fight for her life.
Oh, I did see that.
So there we go.
Is it a great movie?
So there we go. There's 3.
Nah. We can argue about that. And then the Queen, Salma.
Okay, I don't know
Salma.
why she's on this list, and
That's Bay.
like
Gorgeous.
it was for Magic Mike's Last Dance. I almost said Magic Mike Last Stand.
Yeah.
Magic Mike's Last Dance, which I did see with my mother in theaters. And I just don't know. Like it was I mean, she wasn't like this groundbreaking for her. She played. If you haven't seen the movie, she basically plays a sugar mama, and it's kind of hot.
But the thing is, that's the whole point of the movie. Like the movie is not supposed to be like oh, she has to be this very deep kind of character. Like, guys, we all know why we're trying to watch Magic Mike. We're here for the dances. We're here for
and there really weren't that
guys.
many.
Really.
If anything, I think there was a little too much Salma Hayek, but I don't think she did a bad job. I just need to see more ass.
Yeah. I'm cool to see her ass. You know. So
yeah, and you really didn't see it.
Oh well, then
Sad.
yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch that movie. So yeah, like those are the worst movies and the worst actors. So put in the comments, what do you think? Does Winnie the Pooh deserve worst, or maybe it deserves an Oscar for being the best movie of last year?
I mean, it definitely laid an impression on anyone who watched it.
Anybody.
Like, you know, it was dumb for dumb's sake, and it was so good.
Great.
Please go watch
perfect.
it.
Okay, so Joe, we have the movie. I think this is definitely going to be up there for movie of the year.
Guys, this movie has everything.
Everything ever need.
It has a pregnant Emma Roberts cameo. It has absolutely no action whatsoever. So if you're scared, you're like,
there's one scene.
Oh, you're like, oh, these action movies are just too much. I can't take it. It's perfect for that. There is also spider people in the jungles of Peru that run around the tops of the trees that have this whole like spider cult going on in the woods.
The whole family. Good for the whole family.
So yeah, it really does have everything you could possibly want in a movie. I don't understand why people are so upset.
And if you don't know what movie we're talking about Madem freaking Web.
Oh, Madam Web and Madame she is.
All right. So I give the movie a 3 out of 10. When I tell you that this is probably one of the worst movies I have seen in a minute. Not as bad as I think it's better than Morbius.
I think
it's definitely better than Winnie the Pooh. You're like,
in terms of like story or what?
To be honest, actually, I don't know.
Here's the thing, and I think that this is the biggest problem with everyone is like with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, my expectations were not only met, they were exceeded. Because they were so low. The expectations that we had for this, and that's the thing, is like we knew this movie was going to be bad. If you actually like get into it, like the nerd of it all, Madam Web is just like a psychic woman who helps out the spider people, and it's really only once or twice that she like gets them to group up together. Like
Yeah, like the '90s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah,
Loved her in that.
and in that like in the comics, like it's also an old woman. Like
Okay, let's be real. This movie was not necessary. I don't think anybody asked for a Madam Web movie. I love Spider-Man, okay? And I understand Sony's doing their thing of like, hey, we got Venom, we got Craven the Hunter, we got Morbius. But randomly we're just going to decide, hey, let's group up and like make a terrible Madam Web movie that like at least the other ones like have action and like they
and
have
and like actually had some kind of like superhero aspect to this. The problem is I like to liken this movie to Jeepers Creepers because you have an evil big scary bad guy with superpowers, you have some teenagers that he is trying to murder in cold blood, and then you have a psychic woman who's trying to help the teenagers out. That's the plot of Jeepers Creepers. That is also the plot of this movie.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't blame the actors. Okay. I think
I think they did the best that they could with what they had.
They tried. And it's just the writing is just so god awful. I'm not gonna lie. I think Sydney Sweeney's character is actually one of the worst characters in the movie because they try to portray her as this goody two shoes girl,
like nerdy,
nerdy, and then all of a sudden there's a scene where they get on a table
and just start, three of them.
They're like, "Hey, you need to loosen up. Let me take your skirt or your shirt. Let's tie it up, show some belly,
full Britney style,
and get on the table, and then start dancing." And then she takes her glasses off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm." Then you're like, "Oh." You're a high schooler. Now we're really sexualizing you randomly in this movie.
She has a full She's All That movie. And then all three of them are just dancing on a table. And then the evil guy comes in. And then fucking Madam Web hits him with a car and crashes through the diner.
No. He first kills all of them.
Yeah.
Then we have to go back in time.
But it's not back in time if it never happened. That's the other part. That's the other part of this movie is like the time jumps didn't really makes sense because you saw her go through it and then you saw her go through it again, and instead of like it being like a psychic vision, it was just watching the same thing twice because half the time for half the movie she didn't realize this was happening. She just thought she was going crazy. So she was just like half the movie is just her doing everything twice, which is what takes up the entire first half fucking movie.
Like, okay, first of all, Dakota Johnson, all right, if you've seen her press tours at all, you clearly know that she does not care about this movie.
And she fired her agent like a week after the like something was announced, or like it was like she fired her agent over this movie.
No, and I understand. I really think that like Dakota Johnson was like, "Hey, I will try to do my best in this movie." And she tried. And like I'm not saying like Dakota Johnson's like the best actress in the world or anything like that, but like she really did try and put her all, and I thought she was definitely the best character in the movie. But when you get such bad dialogue,
and it's not even a bad dialogue. I mean, the bad dialogue is part of it,
or just super outdated dialogue.
Outdated dialogue, but like just the story itself didn't really make any kind of like sense. And I think it was I can't tell if it was like trying to like flip the script on superhero movies, because as we know, superhero movies a lot of talk about how they're getting stale, or
like, let's see what happens when Spider-Man goes bad.
Yeah,
that's basically what they're trying to do.
But like I feel like this one it kept alluding to like 4 different movies I would rather go see. I would rather go see Madam Web and her 3 little spider girls any day, fighting crime, any of that. But none of that happens in this movie.
No, so guys, when we tell you that this movie, it feels like it's a prequel to what we should have already seen.
Yes.
Like the 3 girls that turn into, Spider-Woman and all that. We should have already seen them go to that and, do their crime fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hey, guess what? A couple years later, we're now seeing a prequel of how they became a team and stuff like that. No, we're just thrown in with this. Guys, again, like, we're going to do some spoilers in this one. I'm just going to, spoiler warning. They do not get their powers in the entire movie. The trailer, first of all, the trailer did look bad. But The trailer heavily emphasized them being in their costumes and
all of
stuff.
the marketing did. The posters had them in their like outfits.
Yes.
Even Madam Web, who she doesn't even like, except for like the last frame of the movie. Last frame of the movie, it's like her with her 3 girls. That is the only thing you see. And it's not like anything. It's just like, and in the future, we're going to do this.
Yeah. Like,
it makes no sense.
I've never seen a movie where we're just like, hey, guess what? In the future, this is our potential. We could be this. But right now, we're not. So why am I watching this movie? What's the point? But the absolute worst character in this movie, by far, is the villain. I haven't seen a worse villain.
Well, it didn't help that his mouth didn't match the words.
Guys, the words.
The ADR was really bad.
The words didn't match the mouth movement.
Not a single one. And his like,
and it's so bad.
And what also makes me mad about him is like, what's really evil and villainous is they had fucking Shoshana out there from Girls. She's just clacking away, doing all of the hard work.
Just randomly.
She's just doing all of the hard work, and he's just running around trying to kill these teenagers.
Why does he have a sidekick?
And he's doing a piss poor job of killing these teenagers.
Why does he have a sidekick?
They needed, I don't know. She's like his Alfred character, and it's so confusing.
No.
It doesn't make any sense, but my favorite part.
We don't even know what happened to her.
Nope. He died. Who knows what else happened?
We really have no idea what happens. Like, there's no like, oh, is she trying to get revenge, or is she just like moving?
No,
and
it was literally the only time where you like saw him talk because it was to her, and like it was the only time there was like any kind of character exposition. He fucks a woman and then kills her immediately. That's the only sex in the movie.
And like the entire time, it's like his only drive is, oh, I see in a vision, they kill me, I must kill them. Oh, they see in a vision of me, I must kill them. I will not stop until I kill them. And that's all his dialogue is.
And I think that's the other thing that we need to talk about is like with villains in movies, what makes villains interesting in movies is when they have some kind of like repartee with the hero. There has to be like, I'm thinking Lex Luthor and Superman, the Joker and Batman. They had a connection. They had some kind of like issue or something that was like they could not,
or they're like the complete opposite.
Yeah. But this is just like, I had a vision of these 3 teenagers and now I got to go murder them, and you're just sitting there and it's like there's no real stakes, and they don't have powers. Like,
yeah, they don't have powers. You don't talk to them, and
like,
hey, like, what's up?
There's no fight scenes. It's just watching Dakota Johnson basically play Baldur's Gate and spam saving until she gets it right.
Yeah, no, that perfect analogy.
Like that's.
But with the hint of Fast and Furious, because guys, Dakota Johnson can drive
tearing
the
it
hell
out of that
car.
ambulance.
We've seen like what? There's like 3 major car scenes of like her just whipping it.
Oh, and people just flying left and right. And I do. My favorite part of the movie is the fact that Emma Roberts was in it. Do you realize who she was?
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, America, Emma Roberts gave birth to Peter Parker. And
okay, like let's actually talk about that family dynamic, because like it's so weird. Okay, so
well, I was confused first off of why she was going to her coworker's sister's baby shower.
There we go. So Dakota Johnson is best friends with, or works with, Ben Parker.
But you don't know his name's Ben Parker until the end of the movie or some stupid shit.
But you know his name is Ben.
Mm-hmm.
You know his name is Ben. And so Ben is finally seeing a girl. And he's like, oh, it's serious. But doesn't mention the name. We all know who we're talking about. But then they're like, all right, hey, we're going to go to my sister's baby shower.
Yeah.
And the father's not there because he's off somewhere else. So we don't actually get to ever meet. So we finally get to meet, I guess, Peter's mom, but don't get to meet the dad. So kind of awkward, because you can tell there's a little bit of sexual tension between Ben and his sister. There's a little bit of sexual tension.
Yeah, it was like kind of weird. Like I don't know what the choice was to play it. I just.
But then you have Dakota Johnson's character, who I'm just like, okay, so is this a throuple? Like, what's going on?
Honestly,
like,
but then he also has some girl that of something or other somewhere, and you don't really. It's never really explained ever. And then they're sitting there and they're playing some. I mean, watching Dakota Johnson have to play baby shower games with Emma Roberts was
great scene.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think that is exactly how Dakota Johnson felt in that moment. I don't think she needed to act.
No,
I think she was so over it and so annoyed. But the other thing that like I found interesting about it was at the beginning, literally like the first scene she has with Ben, he's talking about like something about war in Afghanistan and like all this stuff, and he's like, and she goes, and he's like, I don't like getting shot at in Afghanistan, and she goes, so what? You've never been shot at in Queens? Guys, that's because that's how he dies. He gets shot and murdered in Queens.
Like, let's be real. First of all, so this is the Sony verse. So there's no way he ages that fast in 10 years, 15 years. Like how old is Peter Parker?
Well, it was set in 2003.
Yeah, 2003. So what?
Well, and then 20 years later.
No, when did the original Spider-Man come out?
The original Spider-Man?
Oh,
you mean like Tobey Maguire?
Like Homecoming.
Oh.
It has to be Homecoming, right? Or and see, that's the problem. What Spider-Man universe are we in? Are we in Tobey's? Are we in Andy's? Or are we in
Tom Holland.
Tommy's? Which one? Toby, Tommy, Andy.
And that's the thing is like they wouldn't even make a decision on that because I remember hearing that they originally it was supposed to be in ones and then they talked about having it in the other, but then they just decided to scrap it all together so that they could use it for projects down the road. And like that's how you know when a movie is not going to have a sequel is when they're like, we're going to have to force these characters somewhere else because we probably have contracts with these actors.
No, Dakota Johnson, she literally said, I signed up for a standalone movie. Like, that's it.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting about it is when you hear these people talk about these movies, like Matt Smith in Morbius and her, like you can tell that they talked to people who were in Marvel films and not in association with Marvel films. And that has seemed to be the stark difference in quality.
I like the Venom movies.
I like them too. I actually saw an early screening of Venom when I was living out there.
Really?
I was at the Sony lot. Some guy I was dating at the time got me in from a friend of a friend, and I literally like filled out the survey and everything. They didn't even have some of it done. It was actually really interesting seeing like that process.
Really?
Because like the opening scene, it was like CGI will be filled later on the screen. But then it was like really uncomfortable because this guy came up to me and he just like started asking me questions and I was like, oh, blah, 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 like giving him answers. And then he walked away and then I see this girl come up to me frantically. She was the friend of a friend who got me the tickets, and she was like, she's like, what were you talking to him about? Why were you talking to him? And I was like, oh, he was asking some questions like this, that. I just told him this, that, and the other. And she goes, that was the chairman of the board in Sony.
Oh,
and I was like, hell
wow,
yeah.
wow.
And you know what? He took my advice. And the movie was only half bad.
And so I think what Sony hasn't learned is they saw how bad Morbius performed. And then they said, you know what? We're going to bring back the same writers who literally their only credit is terrible movies. Like we're not talking about like okay movies or anything.
Terrible but fun.
Like
here's the thing.
Yeah,
pull it up. What do we got here?
Oh my god. Okay, so their only credits: Madem Web, Morbius, Power Rangers, the brand new one.
Okay, Power Rangers was not that bad.
It's not that bad, but it's not that good.
I think that it was way better. I think
it's not that bad, but it's not that good.
I think it is way better than people anyway.
Okay, Gods of Egypt is a bad movie.
But it's a fun movie. That's the thing is like these movies are all bad movies, but they're kind of fun.
The Last Witch Hunter.
That one wasn't fun.
with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, you know what? You proved your point. Okay.
Yeah, like that's their credits, and like we're talking about. Okay, you know what? Gods of Egypt, Power Rangers. All right, fine. Those can be kind of like one offs, kind of things and stuff like that. But then when you're like, hey, we need to bring in people who are going to write in these movies to be into the Sony verse, you bring in the worst screenwriters.
Well, and that's the thing is like they had top tier talent. Those girls looked like their characters.
Yeah.
They performed like when they were doing like their 2 little spider flips each. It looked good. I enjoyed it. I thought it would like the biggest problem with this movie is it promises a movie that's not ever gonna be here.
Yeah, no. And that's the biggest thing. It's like you just said, we're going to this should have been a prequel. Should have been a prequel.
This movie should have never been made.
Facts. But the whole point was I saw this movie and I thought, man, we're going to see some of these Spider Women. And then we don't. But randomly, Dakota Johnson becomes blind from a firework through the water.
I was so confused when that happened because she came.
Bro, what?
Because I saw her like turn her head or whatever, but I didn't see like what happened, and it took me a good like 3 minutes.
You get shot by a Who the fuck gets blinded by a firework through water?
People who blow up buildings, warehouses full of fireworks, which is what happened. That's how they got away from the bad guy.
Guys, did this real quick. Yeah, definitely go see it. I think if you're trying to have like a fun night, good time, and a great laugh, I think it's a great movie to go see. I enjoyed myself. Me and my wife and Joe all went, and I had fun.
I had fun. I am curious though, like, what else are we? What like? I just want. I feel
Craven. Craven's next.
Oh,
Craven.
God.
Craven's a great character.
Craven is a great character, but so were these 4.
Yep, and guess what? It's ruined. So
I
already got a low expectation for Craven that comes out this year too. So
at least he's gonna be really hot the whole time.
Yeah. So
that's all we have to look forward to.
Go see Madem Web, guys. We're not gonna promote. Don't see it. Go see it. It's fun. It's great. Terrible movie. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about the TV show that we both kind of watched. It's taking storm on all the socials. And it's LIB.
Love is Blind. And is it? Who's to say? Because this experiment, I love that they call it a love experiment and not a love show or a dating show.
That's the way they get out of some things.
Yeah, legal ramifications. Yeah. I mean, the Lord knows their production is getting hit with some fat lawsuits right now.
Yeah, but clearly they're beating it because they're putting out more seasons. So
I don't know. I mean, these seasons were. These were probably aired or like shot like a year ago or something like that.
What is that, a whole year?
Maybe not a whole year, but a while ago.
Because they say, okay, so if you haven't watched Love is Blind is an experiment where you get 10 dudes, 10 girls, and they don't get to see the other gender. So they go onto the speed dating pods where they go in a pod. You can hear the other person, but you can't see anything that's in the other pod. So
you have to just get to know each other.
Yeah. So they do like these 15-minute like speed dating rounds. And you can keep doing longer than 15 minutes. They actually give them full freedom to like you can stay all the way up to like 3 a.m. and or whatever to just talk. So it's an experiment of like, hey, is love actually blind? And if you select a person, they get engaged. And then they go on to the Dominican. They get a little vacation together,
little honeymoon.
Then they have 4 weeks before they actually get married, and then in that 4 weeks they live together.
They actually get to know each other, what each other looks like, and where each other lives, where all that fun stuff. They actually get into like the nitty gritty of everything. It's kind of crazy to me though that this show that's so based around the idea of like not even knowing what this person looks like to marriage. Yeah. Like people call The Bachelor fast. Girl, this is fast.
This is quicker than 90 Day Fiance.
I don't know who, and that's
this
the other.
30 days.
Like I don't even know how they're producing it because there were people getting engaged on like episode 2.
Yeah. So, but like episode 2 could have been like, day 5, day 6,
But
day
that's the thing,
whatever.
you
You
have
don't.
no
And that's
idea.
editing. That's editing.
But it's confusing and it stresses me out. And all I know is somebody got engaged on episode 2, and that seems really fast.
Yeah. And so then they do an episode where they bring everybody in, and that's when the drama really starts to happen. And then at the end, it's just like, hey, do we get married? Yes or no? And so we're going to talk about season 6 right now of Love Is Blind. It's messy.
It's messy.
It's messy.
These people, I don't know. Reality TV show producers are the devil, and we love them for
Love
that.
it. Love
Like,
it.
you are a necessary evil in this world because you find the most unhinged ass people to start off. But let's start off with somebody a little, like some of these, like more. There are some cutesy couples. There are some
Yeah.
couples that are kind of just, they're fine.
So, okay. The one thing, before we get at that, actually,
Oh, okay.
the one thing that I kind of don't like is, again, there's 10 of each gender. They only show 5 of each.
Yeah, and it's if
And
there's
so
a plot.
like the other half are, yeah, and that's if there's 5 like real couples.
Yeah.
The other people who are there are side characters.
And they're just they're like they'll like randomly pop up. Some woman will pop up, and I'll be like,
Who are you?
Where have you been?" And
I don't know.
And she has like one good thing to say, and then you will never see her again.
I'm like, oh my god, she's cute. Like what? Like what's like? You don't see bloopers. Like I wish you could see how awkward some of the other dates are.
Yeah.
Like I just would like that would be funny for like episode 1.
Yeah,
and then after that
Netflix.
we can get into serious stuff and everything like
show
that.
us
But,
the,
like,
show us the weird stuff. I want to see the cringy. I want to see people just like talking in a room and not having a word to say to each
and
other.
be like, okay, this is not me. Like I want that.
Or if somebody's like, you know what, I can't do this. I want to see that. I want to see somebody break down. Maybe that's kind of that's not something. I want to see them break down on live TV.
That's why we watch it.
That's why
Like,
we
that's
watch
why
it. That's why.
But yeah, so like let's go with we're gonna go from the best couples to the drama.
And this
okay?
is purely based off our opinion, and I don't care what you think.
And again, guys, the show's not done. This is only I've watched 1 through 6. He's only watched 1 through 3.
I've only watched 3 episodes, although
Yeah.
there are a lot of spoilers out there that I have seen, so I am aware of who's in and up with who.
Yeah. So next week we'll give you another update, and the week after we'll give you another update. But let's talk about Brittany and Kenneth. All right. Kenneth is a middle school principal. Brittany is a Southern belle.
And she used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So they were just like match made in heaven.
Yes, they are super religious. They are like, hey, no sex before marriage. They don't even want to do any of that kind of stuff.
They were like, God's the one who brought you to me.
yes, Kenneth is a pastor and stuff like that.
It's just so wholesome.
Good
Next,
for you guys.
good,
Good
like
for you guys.
it was really cute. It was really sweet. It was a nice breath of fresh air between the other couples.
Yeah, and then but he did bring up like points of like I've never dated a white girl before, so like what is this? Brittany is the one who did bring up of like, hey, what race are you? Like and like let's have that discussion. So that was kind of fine. But after I just saw the trailer for the next episodes, it gets a little just a little
is
rocky.
it Trouble in Paradise?
Just a little bit. I know it ain't gonna be nothing, but like I feel like they're definitely gonna be fine, 100,000,000%. The next couple we're gonna talk about is Amy and Johnny.
Just a couple cute kids, just falling.
They really are just cute kids.
They're just a couple. They're just a couple cute kids falling in love, getting feelings.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know, watching people with butterflies, and then when they meet, they were
like,
so
oh my God,
cute. They're like,
yes.
they were the ones that got engaged on episode 2.
Yeah, and like, those are the two that I'm like, oh, they're gonna last. They're gonna make it. They're gonna whatever. I think the only thing that would stop them would be if Amy's brother doesn't like Johnny because she said 3,000 times how much she loves her brother.
That's true.
I prayed that I can have a sibling when I was 7, and then my mom told me, "Oh, I'm pregnant, blah, with a boy. Oh my god, blah blah." Also, she was crying a lot. Like, I'm
She
not gonna lie, she cried a lot.
I mean, but they all
It's
cry a lot. I don't
it's
know. Wouldn't say she cried necessarily more than the others. We just saw a little bit.
yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
comparatively in the screen time, maybe
Yeah.
because we didn't really see that much of them. It was just kind of like,
No, yeah, they got their two episodes, and then the third episode, that's the first part is in them getting engaged.
yeah,
So like it's they're great. They're great. They're cute. I definitely think like out of all the couples, I think they're the strongest couple.
fair enough. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. I would think they're
I just
strongest.
don't think that they have any roadblocks in their way. I
No.
think they're both obviously attracted to each other, and it's just not a problem.
No. Okay. So now we're going to get into like the little bit of the love triangles, a little bit of the messiness of love. Love is blind.
All right. Well, we have Laura, Jimmy, and Sarah Ann, which is really annoying because that's my sister's name.
All right. First of all, Jeremy Jeremy is this guy who's like, oh, I wear Hawaiian shirts. I'm a nerd. I wear Hanley shirts. I think that's what
Henley, because his neck's too thick. He just can't wear.
Yeah.
He just can't wear regular. He doesn't like the way it scratches on his neck.
And so like, yeah, he's just like a plain kind of nerdy kind of guy. Laura,
But it feels like an act to me. He feels like a douche with a nerd like.
nerd facade.
Yeah,
Like,
it
facade.
feels like a
Yeah.
facade. Like he's like, I'm just a silly guy. I'm the class clown. And what you really mean is you're an asshole.
Yeah, like I do get a little bit of asshole vibes from him, but like not like some other guys.
Well,
But then you have Laura, who I think she's just a blonde.
she's pretty. She's fun. She's just hanging out, having a good time. I really don't remember much about Sarah Ann
To
and
be honest,
Laura.
there's nothing to be honest, there's nothing that much about Laura. Sarah, I think so. Okay, first of all, Sarah's really attractive.
Okay.
But I think this is what's happened. So Sarah and Jeremy were getting great. They were going great. They're perfect. They're laughing. They're having a great time. And like Jeremy was like interested in Laura, but I think he was definitely more interested in Sarah. But what
Mhm.
happened is, and I think this happens in episode 3. They talk about politics. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Was Sarah Ann kind of like really conservative?
She is very
Yeah.
conservative.
No. Okay, I do remember
Yes.
this.
Yeah, no, she's very conservative.
And it
And
was
that's
like,
what and you can tell in the demeanor. And like Jeremy, and this part I'll give him. He's a respectful guy.
it
And he
was
was like, yeah, we can talk about this and everything like
Mhm.
that. But you can easily 100% tell that Jeremy was like, "Oh
Flipped.
no.
'Cause, I
I'm
mean,
not conservative."
I mean, and he was like he was very much just like I think it was one of those things where you're like, I can't bring this woman around my friends. Cause
Yeah.
I mean, in today, like people our age, like you can't just be sitting here being like, I don't believe women should have rights. I mean, she did not say that. She
Yeah.
basically just
But,
he asked her about abortion. He asked her about a lot of hot
yeah.
button issues.
She said that women should, if you get raped or anything like that, you should be able to get abortion. But besides that,
Yeah.
if you're
If
consenting,
you should take responsibility for your
if you're
actions.
two consenting adults, you should also understand the responsibility. So like, and that can turn off a person 100%.
Yeah.
And so that, and I really believe that's what changed Jeremy's demeanor.
I think that's completely fair because my demeanor completely changed when that happened because first of all, it's interesting to see because we always hear about the conservative boyfriend and the liberal girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we actually get to see the reverse, the
Yeah,
conservative
that's
girlfriend and the
true. That's
liberal
very
boyfriend.
true.
Like, and I was kind of like concerned when she started going on that rant because I was like, oh no, is this just going to be a MAGA couple? Like, what is going on? But then and like you said, he was very respectful, but you could tell that he was just like
His demeanor changed.
He just
And
wasn't
he's
about
like,
it.
"Yeah, I'll hear you out, and like we can kind of talk about this." But she like doubled, tripled down. And she's like, "No, I am conservative. Like
Yeah.
I'm 1,000,000% conservative." And he's like, "Yeah, cool." Like, and he didn't say like his side or anything like that, but like you can definitely tell like he wasn't really about it. And so like that's what led him. He was like, "All right, I'm gonna go with Laura." And then at the end, he kind of like, you know, I like 100,000,000% when he broke the news to Sarah of like, "Hey, I don't want you." It's exactly how my wife would react. which is she's stone faced. All right, yeah, cool. Like, hey, tell me what did I do wrong and stuff like that. And then I'm Jeremy, where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I really don't want to hurt your feelings. Like I'm nervous. I'm kind of awkward and stuff like that. Because like you can tell that he did have a connection with Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
but I really do think it literally is just because of her views that he was just like, hey, I don't want it. And then you see it on the trailer. And again, I haven't seen episode 7 through 9. They meet up and they finally talk. And you could tell, and Laura was like, they talk for like until like 3 a.m. So
Ugh.
So now you're like, oh, I gotta watch it right now.
I gotta go and get caught up.
Yeah. So like, the thing is, Laura. And here the drama that happened in episode 6. So Laura tells Jeremy, hey, go Dean dip, AD, which means
Dean dip.
Yeah, Dean dip, where you're like, ugh.
Why would you do that to someone?
You just hit somebody's titty.
I didn't know there was a name for this.
Yeah, nobody did. So Jeremy then tells, like, Jeremy's talking to Clay, and we'll get to Clay and AD later. But he's talking to Clay and he's talking to AD, and he's like, yeah, Laura told me to go like bean dip her tits. And Clay's like very confused, and AD's like, oh, like, what? And like it's a very confusing thing. And like, to be honest, like it 100% from Laura, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like, she didn't literally mean, hey, go touch somebody's like boob. But Clay was very confused. He was like, bro, don't touch my girl. But like, you can also tell like Clay wasn't like also taking it super seriously. But then that whole thing causes an entire rift, and it becomes awkward between Laura and Jeremy. And then Jeremy is like, I'm ready to go home. He's like, I'm ready to go home because like this is fucking awkward. He's like, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You asked me to do this, blah, 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 blah. And so that's the couple that I'm just like, it's a little rocky.
We're going to keep our eye out on that one.
We're going to keep our eye out because like Jeremy comes off as like you said, he's a little sarcastic, like a little asshole.
Yeah.
Sarcastic asshole that's a nerd, comes off in that nerd like persona. And Laura just, I don't know. Laura just seems like a blonde. Like, that's the best way to describe Laura.
I hate,
like,
the reason it's because you're not incorrect in saying that.
Yeah, like,
I just wish there was a better way to say it.
No, she comes off as blonde. Like, again, Laura's very pretty. I think she's very pretty. I think some of her conversations are great and stuff like that. She just comes off as a blonde. Yeah, so that's a couple that we're kind of like, oh, let's see where it goes. Let's see where this goes. But I really want to see what Jeremy does with Sarah Ann. I really want to see that. Because again, yeah, I really just think it's just a view. Let's talk about probably the messiest one that we all love, and it's a star. It's a star. Is it a star? What shape does it make?
A star. Oh, you mean the 5 of them?
Yeah, there's
there's only 4 of them.
Yeah, there's 4 of them technically.
A little love
like,
square.
Is it a square?
Basically, Jimmy's just a menace.
Okay, so guys, if you don't know who Jimmy is this dude that reminds me of King of the Hill. He's not attractive, bro. I swear to God.
The flat head.
The flat head. His chin looks like his neck. Like it's connected to his neck.
He talks like he's got something in the back of his throat the whole time.
Like got a little accent, a little southern.
And you're like, what is going on? I don't know.
But he has a huge dick. Heard he has a huge dick.
You know what? I don't need. That's vacation dick. We're looking for marriage dick.
We are looking for boyfriend dick.
You're looking for dick. Well, not even boyfriend dick. This is dick I want to see every day for the rest of my life. Marriage dick and boyfriend dick are similar. But you can leave boyfriend dick behind.
True. And you upgrade for marriage dick.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the dick that you're gonna see every day for the rest of your life, and you gotta commit to it.
Yeah.
And you gotta say, I'm never gonna leave, because that's
babe, I got that marriage dick, don't I?
God.
All right, anyway. So Jimmy when I tell you he has the most boring personality.
He is the most boring.
I don't find anything about him interesting. He plays like his love and feelings like close to his chest, and so I don't know like
Which is why I think that both Jessica and Chelsea liked them, because they both obviously had insecurities that they were
yes,
very like intense about. Like these were obviously very fair, very real emotions, and they were
yes.
heavy. And they both laid on him the same day. Yes, and thank you for the producers for doing that, because you know that they were like, "Hey, you should tell him about your kid. Hey, you should tell him about your ex-husband," and on the same
Yeah.
day.
So Jimmy gets dates with the girl named Jessica. Jessica is she's hot. Like
Yeah, she's
let's be honest.
beautiful.
She's hot. But she has a kid. And what is your thoughts? If you have a kid, should you tell people you have a kid
I think
first date, or should we wait a little bit later down the line?
No, I think she did it at exactly the right time. I think that you have no reason to tell somebody that you're interested in that you have a child immediately, because if it's just cuz like it was like episode 1. It's just a crush. You don't have to tell your crush.
It's a 15-minute interview.
Yeah, but exactly. You're just going through in these 15-minute interviews and seeing if there's even a remote bit of chemistry there. I do not think that a child has to play a part in this. She told him in like episode 2 or 2. She told him in episode 2. So it's not like she was like withholding information. It's not like she was like keeping it a secret per se.
Yeah.
It's just not something that you have to lead with. And I mean, if the connection is actually there, then the kid really shouldn't play a part. My surprise was that the
Wait.
kid was 10.
Okay. But it does. Because
It matters.
being honest, I would not really date a girl if she had a kid. Um, and like that's just my preference. Like, I don't think like I would want to marry a person with already a kid. I just personally don't want to deal with baby daddy's problem like
I
things.
don't know.
Like it
I mean, like,
depends.
obvious. I don't
And
want to
then
say obviously I prefer, but I would
yeah,
I would prefer, but like that's not going to be a deterrent for me. If a guy has
yeah.
a kid, we all have pasts, we all have things, and like
But a kid's not a past. A kid is a present. Like you still have a kid. That kid's there every single day with you. And some people are 100% open to be like, take that commitment. Some people aren't. And
mhm.
so that's why I do think that like, hey, if you have a child, I at least for me, I think it's important to say that.
I mean, maybe I'm under the assumption that like I believe that like when you are dating and you don't really know if it's going to be actually serious until like 6 months in. And I don't think that you should introduce
Oh
a
no,
kid to the
yeah, no,
guy
no,
that you're
no, no.
dating until it's like and then like here's the thing, if I'm dating someone for 6 months and then I meet their kid and then like I mean obviously you should tell me first, but like if I still care about you, that kid isn't going to be a deterrent to how I feel about you.
No, and that's true. But like you said, what if 6 months goes by and you're like, oh my god, yeah, this is great, and then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, I got a kid. That would throw everything
Well,
off of
because she'd
like,
be lying for 6 months, but that's not what happened, and that's not what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
But this is what she says though. She's like, hey, this was my high school sweetheart. We had a kid when we were 18, and then, you know, we just kind of grew apart, and yeah, but we're still good. Have a great relationship and stuff like that. Um, to me, it kind of be like, I don't know. I kind of felt like there is maybe a little bit of thing there with baby daddy. I'm just reading into it. I'm just reading into it. I don't know if there is. I felt just a little bit, and you clearly could tell Jimmy was not ready to be a father. And that's the thing. That's the thing. You also got to realize we have 4 weeks. Just imagine being single and just be like, hey, 4
Married with
weeks,
a
I'm a
child.
dad. I'm a dad in 4 weeks, bro.
That's again, I say it's fair. I think that if you're willing to look past it, like he said he was,
He did.
because he said he was,
did.
he said it wasn't a deal breaker for him.
Which like
Clearly
you
it
can see it on
was.
his face.
Like
You can see it on his face.
and every time it got brought up, he was just like, you could tell he was like pained by it. But I mean, even with that, like I don't know. I think that if you really care for this person, the child would not be a deterrent. If or or you're not ready to be a father, and that's okay too.
Yeah. And you haven't got this far because this happens in episode 4. But Jimmy was not ready to say I love you. He was not ready. She was 100% ready, like, to commit. She's like, hey, you are like my person.
Well, yeah, because he thought he had Megan Fox in the other room.
She brought in some papers that she wrote, I guess, a long time ago for like, hey, you're going to be the one. And Jimmy was not receptive. And this is when I kind of get like really turned off from Jessica, because she's like go into like, oh, she's pissed off, like mood, and she's like mad, and she's like, do you want me or not? And like, I understand, like, she wants affirmation, like she wants reinsurance that you do like me, that you do care for me, but she shuts down and pouts like a child in that situation. And like, that was a huge turnoff for like any guy who's got 2 women. Any guy with 2 women will be a huge turnoff.
And again, he thought he had Megan Fox in the other room.
Facts. But the most iconic line I think I've ever heard from any fucking a dating show. Jimmy's like, hey, I want to be honest with you. And she's like, I'm a fucking big girl. Tell me. And he's like, you're not the one. I'm not ready. And she says, when you see me, I hope you fucking choke. I hope you fucking need your EpiPen to clear your airwaves when you choke when you see me. I'm like,
she said you are going to be sick when you see this. And you know what? What the fucked up part about it is, I don't think she's wrong.
Oh no, she's hot.
She's hot, I don't
100%.
think she's wrong. I think that exactly what she said is how he will feel when he finally finds out what she looks like, solely based on the fact that he had a big problem with the way Chelsea looked.
Yeah. And so the big thing that's going on over all the socials and stuff like that, Chelsea is the third person in this little cog. Chelsea, she seems like a very nice person. I actually think she's actually a very nice person.
Yeah, I thought I would hang out with Chelsea. Like, her and I'd be friends.
Chelsea actually looks, she leans a lot more reinsurance, I would say.
Yeah.
And even
that's why I was a little confused when you were saying that about Jessica, because I was thinking Chelsea needed.
Well, let's be honest. Everybody needs reinsurance.
Yes.
Everybody needs to know where they stand.
Tell me you love me.
Yeah, and Jessica was just getting very mad. And when you watch that scene of when that came out, you're kind of like, this is not necessary. You're kind of very mad and pissed off, but iconic line. Iconic.
I don't know. As somebody who gets mad and pissed off,
Yeah,
I've seen the monologue of I've seen it on TikTok. And like, I thought it was amazing.
Oh no, it's iconic. But Chelsea, and like he straight, and Jessica said this about, like, you need a girl, or you want a girl that is not fiery or anything like that.
And that's true.
And Jimmy clearly does, because Chelsea's not that kind of girl. Chelsea's not the girl that's like leading in a relationship or anything like that. Which is, again, okay. Chelsea seemed like a very sweet girl, very nice, and everything like that. And I think, like, there's nothing wrong that she's done. She cries a lot. That's my only kind of turn off.
But she also laughs a lot.
She laughs a lot.
She laughs a lot with Trevor.
And so she cries a lot, and Jimmy is with her and stuff like that. And Chelsea says, hey, my friends, or some people, have told me that I look like Megan Fox. I don't think I look like Megan Fox, but like, I've been told I kind of look like Megan Fox.
But she says, here's the thing. I'm with her all the way until she pretends like she doesn't know who Megan Fox is.
Yeah, she was like the husband.
She's like the wife of MGK. Like, here's the thing: is like, I do believe her in the fact that, like, she has been told that, in the same way that I have had many people tell me that I look like James Corden. I have had multiple people tell me this. Jordan, look at me. In Prairie Village, Kansas, I had a man I had a man follow me around the Price Chopper.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Because he thought I was James Corden.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
No,
he did.
didn't.
And he came up to me and he says, "Aren't you the guy from Carpool Karaoke?" And that's not the first time I fucking heard it. And I said, "No, sir. Why would he be in Prairie Village, Kansas? Also, listen to me. Do I sound British? I know I sound gay, and so does James Corden.
Joe, you got a small car. You could easily do it. You should start it, bro.
Not the point. But as somebody who said, because I don't think that I look like James Corden, I have similar attributes, especially when I have my hair and that mohawk looking thing. I can see what they're talking about.
Yeah, no.
That's how I liken this. Like, she does have
Chelsea, like her eyes. I can see the eyes. Megan Fox, she has the same like long brown hair.
I think if you go back and look at Megan Fox pre-plastic surgery, she looks a lot more like Megan Fox.
Kind of.
But here's the thing.
I'm not saying she's a liar. I'm not saying that like nobody's ever said that.
No.
To
But
her.
here's the thing that I really wanted to point out is when she said, "I look like Megan Fox," the only thing he thought was body.
Oh, and face.
And face. But like,
see, like the thing is,
you could tell, but like, he was disappointed, and that's the thing. It's like she's not a humongous, like she's not even a big girl. She's a curvy girl. She's beautiful. She does kind of like, if you squint, like she does kind of look like Megan Fox.
I got a lazy eye.
But you could tell.
You gotta
the way he was so excited.
You gotta, but like Joe.
What?
If a dude on an app was like, "Hey, yo, I look like I don't know who you really like. Who's like your number one guy?"
Oh, my number one? I don't really have a number one.
Okay, like let's say Michael B. Jordan. Let's just say if a dude says, "I look like Michael B. Jordan," and then looks like me, you would be fucking disappointed. Don't lie.
Maybe,
don't
but
lie.
my self-esteem's low enough. I would just look like we're past it. Because if a guy told me he looked like Michael B. Jordan and he looked like you, I'd be like, you know what? Win's a win.
The thing is, again, Chelsea's not bad looking at all. I think she's pretty and everything like that. But like, I do get when people say you look like Megan Fox. I'm instantly thinking, oh, you look like Jessica. And then I'm like, I'm in. Like Jessica, you can say Jessica, like body wise, hair, not really in the face, but maybe if you squint hard enough,
that's
could
the
look
thing,
like
though. If I
Megan
say,
Fox.
and I think this is the difference, is like if I say you look like someone, I'm thinking face, not body. He was thinking body, not face.
I mean, but I would also kind of think of body too.
I don't know. Because I don't know. If somebody says that you look like somebody, I'm thinking face. And I think that that's like where this biggest issue is, because she does look like Megan Fox in the face. Kind of. Pre-plastic surgery, yes.
Kind of.
But that's the thing, is like it's who you look like, not who you look like a clone of.
But again, if this Love is Blind, again, you don't see the person. So I'm going to be fucking jazzed. If a girl told me that she kind of looks like, I'm going to be super excited. But here's the thing, though. Chelsea had another man.
Yes, she did. And
Chelsea had this great, fantastic ass dude.
I want him on The Bachelor. I want him to be The Bachelor.
I would be fine.
I think he would be a really fun Bachelor.
So the guy's named Trevor. Trevor is this big dude. He definitely works out. He has sunburnt. Something's wrong with his face. But he literally, like, he's an IT guy, and
he's just a big, like,
nice guy. He's a great guy.
I would say himbo, but he's not dumb. He's like, he holds a conversation well. He's funny. That's the thing that I don't understand about
great
all of this.
Great personality.
He's one of those guys where you're like, oh, fuck you. Like, he's funny. He's sarcastic. He's sweet. He's hot. Like
literally all this man needs is a good haircut and just some skin. Like,
you don't like the mullet?
Chill out. Chelsea was like, oh, I dig a mullet.
So
she said, I dig the mullet, and Trevor's like, I got one.
Here's my thing with them that like really drives me the fucking insane is if Jimmy ended up with Jessica and Chelsea ended up with Trevor,
we'd all be good.
Everyone would have been happy.
Yep.
But because she said, I look like MGK's wife, the whole thing got fucked. Because here's the thing. He like, and I truly believe that he was like, she's got a kid, but Megan Fox in the other room is divorced and doesn't have a kid. And so I'm really just like playing fast and loose because I do think that he liked Jessica more in the beginning.
Oh, so in the trailer,
Oh God.
he straight up says, "Oh, you were my number one."
To Jessica?
To Jessica. And when I tell you, when you watch it, you will see when she gets kind of pissed off, that's a turn off on him. And I get it. She really started acting a little childish.
Okay.
And I
but
understand
what hot girl
off.
doesn't?
Exactly.
See, that should have been your first sign. Because that should have been your first fucking sign that she was hot. Because Chelsea's over there crying the whole time. You know who cries?
Not hot chicks.
Hot chicks don't cry.
Hot chicks are like, fuck you, bitch. But no, Trevor is just an amazing dude. And like, I actually like really enjoyed all his conversations. Yes, all he needs again is a haircut, fix his skin a little bit, and this man is like a 10.
Yeah,
like
for
100%.
Real. Like he's tall.
Yeah.
He's built like a house, and I just want to fucking make my home with him.
Yeah,
but
no, and so he's a great guy. Chelsea's really vibing with him, and I really think. So this is what pisses me off, guys. This is what pisses me off. So Jimmy tells Jessica, "Hey, no." Then the next day, first date of the day, it's Chelsea and Jimmy. Jimmy proposes. Chelsea cries and everything. Also, by the way, Trevor said, "I love you." He's cut off. He said, "I have one person.
Yeah.
You're my only person.
Yeah.
That's all I want. You. While Jimmy is dating 2 chicks.
Yes.
And he's like, "I love you," said it. It took Jimmy 10 days, the entire time to say, "I love you" to Chelsea. Then says, "I love you. Will you marry me?" Chelsea says yes. Trevor is waiting in the other room.
Why would you're spoiling this for me.
You're my next. You know the couples. He's like, you're my next. You're the next date.
I did know.
I'm the next date.
I was so in it. You had me in it.
He's sitting there. She comes in, and then before he can say anything, she's like, I gotta tell you, and he's like, "Oh fuck." He's like, "I had a great speech for you and everything," and like, she's crying and stuff, and he's like, "Oh man, I really didn't believe," and then he straight up asked her, "If I went first, would you have married me instead of him?"
I have goosebumps.
And she didn't say anything.
Because she knows the truth that she should have been with him the whole time. But she just jumped on the... That's
bullshit. Like that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off.
But that's almost like why it's an experiment, but also why it's like...
That's how you know? Okay.
But there's also, like, I feel like everyone like, every girl has that, like, every woman in their 30s, hold on. Every woman in their 30s has that guy that, like, he just couldn't fucking pull it together. And so it's like the first guy that has, like, pulls it together, that's who you go with just because it's the safest option or whatever. Like, you have that guy, and I've seen a lot of people end up in marriages because they just went with the first safe choice.
I really think 100% because, like, I think like she's more insecure. Like, again, she doesn't look like Jessica or anything like that, and like she's been divorced, so like the first guy that proposes, she's going to say yes, even though Trevor's a great guy and stuff like that, and like she really did like Trevor. Jimmy just said, "I propose," and she's like, "Yes, this is what I want. This is why I'm here. I really want to be married." And so that's why she said yes. And like, you can instantly, and
I'm heartbroken right now, even though I know what happens.
And so then they finally do the reveal of the couples, and you can definitely tell that Jimmy is not ecstatic. He tries to pretend like, okay, so traditionally, when they are when they finally see each other, they first hug, then they kiss. Dude gets on his knees, proposes. They sit on a bench.
They talk,
kiss a lot, and blah blah blah.
They're like, "Oh
and
my
I love
God,
you, I love you, I love you, I love
we
you,
have
blah, blah,
forever
blah, blah.
now." And actually, if you want to see a good example, that like first couple that got engaged, they are the epitome of like how it should go because they were just so over the moon for each other.
All right, so Jimmy gets there. Oh my God, hugs. Oh my God, like, hey, what's up? He doesn't look that happy. They go to the bench. Like
Immediately?
they kiss and stuff, and like hug, but they go to the bench. He doesn't say I love you. He doesn't propose. They go to the bench and talk.
But he's already proposed.
Yeah.
And now he's got to do it again? And he just doesn't want to? What happens?
So, like,
Eventually
they
he gives her
talk.
the ring?
Eventually, he gets down on one knees and proposes, and eventually says, "I love you."
I mean, I've seen some clips. I'm not that far in. I've seen some clips where it's just like obviously like he's just like so like underwhelmed.
Yeah, like you could tell that he's a little bit excited. I wouldn't say that he's just like, "Oh fuck." It's not like that, but you could
No.
definitely tell he's like,
He just looks more nervous than anything.
yeah. But again, every other dude dropped down on one knee and proposed before they sat down on the bench and said, I love you before they got to the bench. He didn't say that or got down on one knee. So you clearly know there's something wrong with this relationship.
I'm sorry. I've seen that look. I've had that look, and I dip the second they give me that look. That look where they're just like, you can tell that they're just like,
oh, you don't look like what I thought you would look like.
or just even like, you can see the second that their mind changes.
Yes.
When they're like feeling you and it's good and it's great, and then you just see them kind of go blank.
Seen that multiple times at a bar.
And you're just like, yeah, like out and about where you're just like, they are interested and they're learning about you, and then they just lose interest. It's crazy. But like, if I were her, I don't know if I were her in that scenario, because he literally proposed to her.
Yeah. No,
so
did.
Like that's a difference. Is like, you're like, he proposed to me, so he must like me still anyways.
Yeah. So they go to the Dominican Republic, and she keeps wanting reinsurance, keeps wanting it. And he tells her, oh, you're gorgeous, like you're this and that, stuff like that. But like you just really just don't feel the love. And at one point, they're in the Dominican, and he finally sees AD. Again, AD. And so like, like when you're in like a secure relationship, you can talk about like other people and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and my wife, like we talk about like, oh my God, this girl got like literally the other day we were driving down the street, and like Morgan's like, damn, she got a fat ass. And I'm like, God dang. And then like we move on. So same thing happened. Like Jimmy was looking, and Chelsea was like, "Oh yeah, like 80, what do you do to get all that ass?" And she's like, "Oh, squats and Jesus." And then, yeah, Jimmy's like, "Oh, hot," like kind of like, "Oh man, like why you call me out like that?" But then he goes over to AD and starts talking to her, and then grabs her hand and does a fucking twirl with her. And then Chelsea's like, "Bro, what the fuck?" And see, that's the thing. Like me and my wife, we can talk about other people and be like, "Oh, this person's attractive. Like this girl's attractive. This guy's attractive."
But
I would never
act
ever
on it.
go up to that person and then just like, "Oh, like
give the little one up twirl.
Yeah,
like, girl,
like,
show me what you got.
yeah,
No.
And then like they're just talking, and you could tell he's getting excited. Like he's talking to her, getting excited about it. He's definitely into it. But he does mention oh yeah, I'm happy in my relationship. Are you happy in your relationship? But you can tell from that smile, that smirk, oh, like he would be on AD in a second. You can tell that. But anyway, speaking of AD.
Oh, AD. Yeah, we went on a deep dive for that. AD, we really ain't got... I mean, here's the thing. We don't need to talk about AD. We need to talk about her boyfriends, because they're fucking crazy.
Oh my God. Okay, so Amber, what's her last name? Desiree? Amber Desiree. Or Desire? No, it's Desire. I think it's Desire. AD. Okay. She's a confident, fine black woman. She's a dancer, cheerleader.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. She does her shit.
She's pretty. She's smart. She's got everything going for her. All she needs is just a man to put that little bow on top.
Yeah. So she meets this guy, Clay. Clay he's a black guy. And he's not like Kenneth.
God is not on his side, like Kenneth's.
Yeah, Clay, like, okay, don't get me wrong. Clay is just the typical black guy who's not emotionally...
Isn't he a salesman?
I think he is. He's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur is a French word for unemployed,
That's
ladies
it.
and gentlemen.
Okay, so Clay is like a typical black guy that's emotionally not intelligent enough or hasn't developed those skills yet. Um, and through the whole entire time he's talking with AD, you can tell that he's never been to therapy. He's trying to work through some stuff and everything like that, and he's getting his kick from AD. Like, and him and her's conversation, they flow. Like, let's be real. Black people,
Yeah.
we know when I talk to a black person, it doesn't have to be through a wall. It can be through a phone. It can be through miles and miles. I know when I'm talking to a black person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they instantly got a connection. They instantly started off. Things are going well.
I mean, he just has like
He has the chat.
he is that
He's a
chat,
charmer.
that
He's a good-looking
that je
guy.
ne sais
Like,
quoi. He's just got a mouth on him that
You can-
it'll get like it gets him into trouble.
100%. You could tell that he definitely is the type of guy that would have a roster.
Mm-hmm.
He would have a roster.
And it's like hearing him talk in the first few episodes, you can definitely tell that like last week he realized that women have feelings too, and he might have some. Like,
Yeah.
it's very clear that like the idea of like putting a woman's needs ahead of his own is a
Again,
novel thought.
And like being honest, like I'm not trying to bash Clay or anything like that. Like,
I am.
Like Clay literally, like in the show, he talks about like how like he's trying to like understand. He thinks that crying is weak, and like he's trying to like understand like how to like release emotions. And he said like after he cried, he's like, I feel better. He's like, I understand. Like, this is not weak. This is not this. And so again, like I just really think Clay is just like he's just wasn't emotionally there. And
No. And well, he wasn't emotionally there based off the fact that he said he asked AD what she looked like, which is like the no.
and that is the
And
biggest red flag.
red flag of immaturity, because here's the thing. You went on a show called what?
Love is blind.
Love is blind. You know that you're not supposed to see these people. You're not supposed to know about their physical appearance. That's like the whole thing. And then he went even further and said, if I am not like down bad for you, basically, if I'm not fucking like on you like that, he said that I wouldn't marry you, obviously. And I'm not saying that's unfair. I agree to a certain extent, but why the fuck are you on the show?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think he was trying to talk from like a point of like if he was outside the show.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I have to be attracted to you, which again is not a bad statement. That's not wrong. He's okay. He's entitled for that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, if you go on a show called Love is Blind, then you shouldn't care about looks. This is literally the definition of the experiment.
And here's the thing, and I feel like some of these people sign up for these shows and they think that it's going to be like fun or whatever, especially for Love is Blind. These are real people with real emotions and real problems at the end. Like, we're talking about marriage. You should never go into a situation with that attitude, because you're going to end up hurting people's feelings. Because he did hurt AD feeling. Even though AD knows she's a bad bitch, even though AD knows that she looks good, that's a turnoff. Because what are you here for?
Yeah. And so that's when a guy named Matthew comes in. Now, Matthew, cannot confirm or deny. This dude's autistic. Like, there's no way to put it. He's definitely autistic. He's on the spectrum. I would 100% say he's a high functioning, like autistic guy.
Either that or he is actually the devil. Like,
so Matthew, he comes in. Again, you're speed dating these people. He comes in and he has a list of 15 questions. And he's like, hey, lady,
pick a number.
Pick a number between 1 and 15. And so they would pick a number, and then he would ask the question. If you talk too long, he would walk out from that date. If you asked the question back, he would tell you, no. I was not prepared to answer these questions.
He said, I was planning on just asking the questions. I wasn't really planning on answering them at all. And there's one where Jessica, I think it was, and she just goes, what? She's like, what do you mean? Like, it is supposed to be a back and forth, and this man had one plan, and if you deviated from that plan, he was not happy about it.
Not at all. And so, a lot of girls very turned off from him, which understandably.
Yeah.
And then he goes to 80. And then for some reason,
he switched it up.
he talked to her, and then he felt very comfortable. And then he was like, and again, these other girls, he really wasn't talking. He wasn't even trying to. And again, like this dude's, he's a he's a dad, like a financial
Analyst,
advisor.
yeah.
Yeah. And so he's a data nerd. Like you know, he probably doesn't socialize that much. All the guys in the men's quarters, like none of them talk to him. Like they would try to like get something out of him, and he's just not like open. He's like 37,
Yeah.
and so he's a weird, awkward guy. And like you can actually really tell, like genuinely, when he was talking to AD, like he was opening up. Like
Yes.
he was talking to her. He was saying like actually kind of how he felt
Mm-hmm.
and what he thought. Then he brought up like, oh, like, hey, you're the only one I'm like focusing on right now. You're the only one like I can actually talk to, like I actually care about. Um, I would propose like I need permission from like your dad for me to propose. AD's dad's dead, so he's like, oh, like I'm sorry, like, but I would go to him and everything like that. And so you're like, oh my god, like Clay is kind of out there. He's kind of a fuck for asking about how she looks and stuff, and Matthew is actually like a good
He's
guy.
giving her what she needs. He's giving her
Yes,
that
everything.
what I was talking about earlier, that girl who ends up with the stable boring guy
Yeah,
who nobody likes because dickhead over here was being a dickhead.
yeah.
That's exactly a one for one of what I was talking
And
about.
so this is all the first episode. You get a lot of AD and Matthew, and you actually like, okay, I can see them as a good couple, you know. And then randomly, again, there are random characters in this show, very random. You only see a couple scenes with them,
You
and
literally see like
then all of a sudden at the very end of episode one, you have a girl named Amber. And Amber, she's very pretty. She's very
mhm.
um, she goes and tells around, yeah, Matthew said the exact same thing to me.
Even down to like I want to ask your father to
Like the verbatim.
like it
Like he
was.
had this written
And
down
it
and
was
just
like,
said it.
and it was like, we're gonna like, if I could leave with you right now, I would.
Yes.
I'll tell the producers we're done, and we'll just get out of here now. This same
Says exact same thing.
story.
And so AD is like, what the fuck?
Which is interesting because I was interested in the fact that like at first they weren't really like the girls and the guys were not talking to each other at all. They were keeping things close to the chest. They didn't want each other to know
Yeah.
who each other was dating. And I'm sitting there like, if I could know what this motherfucker is saying to other women
Yeah.
and have
100%.
a direct line to it,
I gotta mark my territory.
I would kill. I need to know. I just want to know what he's saying to you. What is he
Yeah.
saying to you? But like, that's the other thing is like people in these pods kind of like tend to forget that they're dating multiple people until it comes up, and then when it comes up, they act surprised about it.
Yeah. And so
Now, don't get me wrong. AD was right for being mad at Matt because he was telling some of the girls the same bullshit.
So AD's not mad at Amber.
No.
But and like so she goes to, AD goes to her girls and be like, what the hell? And they talk. And then finally her and Amber talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, bro, she's saying this. He's saying the same thing. So then confronts Matthew, like, hey, yo, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I didn't mean that with Amber. I really didn't say it like that with Amber.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't say it exactly the same.
Yeah.
There was like one other part that he added in for her.
It was a period instead of a semicolon.
Yeah,
you know?
literally that. And he was
Yeah.
like, no, it wasn't that big a deal. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so
But then AD goes to Clay and she starts talking about how she's having issues with Matt over here. And what drives me insane about Clay, and this is how you know he's just like wasn't ready for the show, is this would have been his moment to swoop in and be like, baby, I never treat you that way.
Yeah, no.
No, he doesn't fucking do that. He says, oh, you're talking to other motherfuckers? You're over here talking to these other guys? What? And it starts acting childish, as if he didn't know there were other people in the pods. This is why I have a problem with Clay.
Hold on. Again, the way Clay reacted, not okay. He did yell at AD. He was pissed off. Shouldn't have got pissed off. But if I'm talking to AD and I'm talking to her and I think this is my chick And again, it's okay if you're talking to other people. I understand we're on a dating show. You're talking to other people, but you're talking to Matthew, Matt, and like again, he doesn't know how he talks to the other girls, but he sees him in the men's quarters, and he's weird and doesn't talk anything like that.
But
So he
again,
would. I understand where he's coming. Like, out of all the people here, Matt, there's like 3 other black dudes that like have better chat and stuff like that. That you'd be like, oh yeah, you can talk to them, or there's other good guys out here. But Matt, you like Matt out of all the guys, so I kind of get where he's getting pissed off. But the way he reacted, he should have been like, "Oh yeah, I understand you're talking to other guys, and like that's fine."
but maybe I'm just a scheming, conniving person. Because for me, in my head, I'm like, that is your moment to comfort her.
Oh no,
and
no,
say,
100%.
Like that was his moment to step up, and he didn't.
But again, that's why I think Clay at the beginning of this wasn't that emotionally intelligent.
No.
And yes, you're 100% right. That's the moment where you comfort AD, you talk to her. Like, yeah, she's talking about another guy that she's dating, and you know what? Take it on the chin. Sometimes you got to take it on the chin. And he gets pissed off, acts very childish, and then yells and gets mad and stuff like that. And AD's like, all right, no, I'm done with this. And then Matthew is still talking to Amber. And Amber finds out about all this stuff, and Amber's like, bro, I'm leaving. She's like, I'm done with this. Like, I can't handle like this shit. Like, he's talking to me like we're going to get married, but then he's talking to another bitch and saying,
Can
like,
you imagine
the same thing?
fighting over Matthew?
Oh my God. He's a good looking guy.
I mean, that's the thing is
Matthew
is like the epitome of like did everything right, went to school, got a good job, works out, mildly attractive, obviously has money, but like he's just a bored.
He's boring.
He's just you're just talking to a wall. And I don't
He's
get
the Matrix. He is the Matrix.
I don't get it. It's just like, but like there are moments where he is very sweet and he is very like soft and like does open up. But he's doing it to both of them. So is it really sweet? Is it really nice?
Amber's like, fuck this. I'm leaving. Bye. And then AD and Matthew talk, and Matthew's like actually heard about it. And he's like, wow. I clearly he wanted Amber more than AD.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
So then AD's like, what the fuck? Then Clay comes back and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I did blow up. That's an accident. They talk it out. They work. Boom. They get engaged. And Clay was like, you better be attractive. And then he finally saw AD. He was like, yep.
That's the thing that yep. I'm like almost mad about it. I wish she was like a little bit bigger. I wish he didn't like, because like that's the thing is like
80 bad, bro.
80 is bad. And I was sitting there and like I was just like I was like he's like asking these questions and I think that's what made me, it was like he doesn't even need to, because she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
So like it wouldn't have mattered anyway whether he asked that question or not. And like, but what's like at the end of it, like he still got on one knee and proposed to a woman he'd never seen before, and like thank God.
And he like you could tell that he's like emotionally matured a little bit and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then like again going to the DR and like him talking about like Jeremy talking about I'm going to bean dip your woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like, yeah, I know that's a joke, and so like I'm not mad or anything like that. And so, like, you can tell, like, he really does like her. He really does, like, find her attractive and stuff like that. And I, like being honest, I really do think with somebody like Clay, attractiveness is, like, 60-40, like, 60% attraction, 40% personality. And she hit that 60, and she hit that 40. So I really do think, like, Clay is, like,
they're probably gonna end up happy, because, I mean, at the end of the...
you never know.
I don't know. You're right. I don't know, because he could still be.
Yeah. So, to be honest, that's the first 6 episodes. It's crazy.
We're gonna have to.
It's crazy. Cannot wait for the next 3. When they all meet, gonna be crazy.
Oh, it's these people are so messy, and we thank Netflix for it.
Yes. And so, yeah, next week we're going to give you a little recap of what happens in the next 3 episodes. But yeah, right now we're already at an hour and a half, so we're going to cut this thing a little bit short, and it's okay. But hey, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Double Trouble Features. Catch us on Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Watch us anytime. All right. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And peace.